Moment as we look forward to the final in our mini category, the last of the finals. That will be 13 minutes plus 1 lap in length. Now, it was scheduled to start about 5 or 6 minutes ago, so I'm not 100% sure of the hold up, but hopefully we'll get it underway relatively swiftly. I can see a few drivers just getting up and out of their carts there and having a little bit of a chat. So clearly something causing a little bit of a hold up here. But no need to bring the grid graphic up. Guys behind the scenes, we'll just have a little chat through. Like we were saying earlier on, Ole Alexander Sørli-Smistad, your pole position holder in this one. And what a weekend he has had already. Of course, like we mentioned, third place in the super heat earlier on. And that was his first time not at the sharp end of the order. He made the clean sweep in junior 60s throughout this weekend, winning every single session. And he nearly did it in the minis. Of course, with that last lap lunge, giving him a bit of a penalty and just dropping him down to third place. He still won the race on the road. Well, once all was said and done and final positions were worked out, he dropped down into third place. So that doesn't matter, though, of course. The grid is set by the points gathered over your heats and then the super heat this morning. So he's still done more than enough to get on pole position here for the mini finalists. Now, we do see our mini grid of 13 drivers. Not much of a mini grid, to be fair. A decently sized grid, that is, of 13 drivers heading out onto the circuit for their final time today. Well then, let's have a proper run through the grid then for this one. Like I say, Ole Alexander Sørli-Smistad on that pole position with, let's be honest, his closest challenger throughout the weekend and the reigning champion in minis, Adrian Mikkelsen, is alongside him on the front row of the grid. It's Jakob Ovlenberger and Espen Moe. Both drivers have been very fast throughout today. They're on row 2. Of course, Jakob, the only one to win a race that isn't called Sørli-Smistad, starts there on row 2. Row 3 as Christopher Melhus and Jenny K. Nordvang. Then it's Philip Bakkegaard and Marcus Alberg on row number 4. Oliver Christiansen Kampelien is there on row 5 with Shelly Sandy. Then Daniel Stålen and Berk Brandeslet Bendiksvold and Christian Bjorgen there, the 13 carts on the grid. I have to give a brief apology to Berk Brandeslet Bendiksvold. The names were cut off on the sheet that I had, and I just couldn't remember the second part of his double-barreled name. So sorry, Berk. But he's been doing a great job out there on circuit. Let's see how he can do in this final. The 13 drivers head round the final corner. The 4 red lights are on. They will go out now, and we're racing in the minis. Straight down into the first couple of corners we go. Who's going to exit ahead? Will it be Sørli-Smistad? Will it be Mikkelsen? Will it be another driver joining the party? Through they go the first couple of corners, and it is Sørli-Smistad who holds onto it as they go up and over the bridge section. You can already see Mikkelsen communicating with the driver in behind. He gets a wallop. They both go wide. Up and under tries the third place driver. He gets to second and nearly grabs the lead. That's Sørli-Smistad down to third place then. I think Mikkelsen's might have just about held on to it, and he does. Mikkelsen into the lead of the race then, with Jakob Ovlenberger following him through into second. And your race winner in most of the races so far this weekend in the minis has dropped down to third on this first lap of proceedings. Through into sector number 3 for the first time in this one. And it is the 187 from the 144 from the 197. Espen Moe still there in fourth place. Philip Bakkegaard has gained 1 up to 5th. He's dropped Christopher Melhus down into 6th place. All slidey through the final corner, and we're side by side for 6th place. The 106 has to drop back in behind. That's Jenny K. Nordvang looking to steal another position, this time from Christopher Melhus, but can't do it this time around, as she's still got Berk Brandeslet Bendiksvold and Marcus Alberg there nipping out her heels. Well, thank goodness, a bit of a commentary blessing there that I've given Bendiksvold, as he's made up a few places on the first couple of laps. Move for second place. Down the inside goes Sørli-Smistad. Up and under goes Espen Moe. Espen Moe got to get both of them here. Up to second place goes Espen Moe. And re-overtaking there is the 144 of Jakob Ovlenberger. So trying to make one position up for Sørli-Smistad, and he loses 2 in all of that. Down and off of the podium is Sørli-Smistad. And Adrian Mikkelsen is using the battling in behind him to perfection at the moment as he tries to break away in the early stages of this race. End of lap number 2 then. We still have 11 minutes set to go in this mini final. And you can see there the 180 pointing forward to Espen Moe. He says, come on guys, Adrian is driving away with this one. We need to work together. New fastest lap courtesy of your race leader, a 1:09 for Adrian Mikkelsen. Espen wants to work together. I'm not sure if Jakob Ovlenberger is going to work with him. Doesn't go for the move on the entrance to the corner. We'll try and get him on the exit though, on that slippery inside line though, and has to drop back into P3. What Espen Moe wants is a push from Jakob and Ole in behind him. He wants them to all push together and press on to try and chase down Adrian Mikkelsen. Any more battling between the three of them, and I can only imagine that gap will continue to extend. Well, it was just over a second at the start of this lap. There's been no overtaking between second, third and fourth, and it's dropped down to 9/10. So clearly it is working if the drivers can continue to work together. It was a purple sector 1 from Jakob, a purple sector 2 from Espen Moe, and as they cross the line now, that gap is, just under a second now between the two of them. They'll need to continue with a lot more of this if they do want to close that gap, and they'll really need Adrian to have a little bit of a mistake and drop back into their clutches once more. Fastest lap of the race then for third place of Jakob Ovlenberger. Jakob doing really, really nice things in this one. Again, tries the exact same move that he attempted on the last lap to get the up and under out of the left-hander. Again, it doesn't work. And you see, once again on the exit of the corner, Espen Moe pointing forward, thinking, what are you doing? Come on, we're going to let Adrian get away. Stop going for these moves. But every driver is out there battling, and every driver, it's every man and woman for themselves out there on circuit. Of course, you will have teammates, and you will have truces between the drivers. But we'll see if the truce able to work then. Two Kart Republic chassis in second and third of Moe and Berger. And that gap nearly halved on the last lap. It's half a second now between Mikkelsen and Moe. New fastest lap of the race, courtesy of Espen Moe. As again, the drivers in behind trying the up and under there. Clearly the outside line working well though for Espen. He continues to press on. And if he can carry on at this pace, there's definitely opportunities on the table here to be the driver to be crowned the 2025 IAME Nordic Cup Mini Champion. Plenty of time in this race, though, for things to happen. And Adrian Mikkelsen looking to defend his crown here in the minis. Of course, Ole Alexander Smistad has already bagged himself a ticket to the IAME World Finals later on this year in Spain. But there's another one on the table here in minis. The winner of the mini class will grab themselves a ticket to the biggest IAME event of the year. Big slide there off of the apex curve as they go up and over the bridge once again for Adrian Mikkelsen. Doesn't seem to have affected him too much though. And that gap remains stagnant over the last lap. That was a much better up and under from Jakob Ovlenberger. He's tried the inside line, sneaks through the inside, but no, again, that outside line just about works for Espen Moe. So I'm just having a giggle in the box there at how irate Espen Moe is getting now. With every point forward, he gets a little bit angrier. Why are you not listening to me? Adrian is right there. Stop going for overtakes on me. Let's get to Adrian, then the gloves can come off. Then we all battle for the race win. But until then, if you keep doing that, we're going to give him that victory, and we're all going to be left squabbling for second place. Less than 7 minutes on the clock then, as we go on to lap number 7 of this race. And again, gap pretty stagnant, 6/10 now between Mikkelsen and Moe. That's a good exit for your third place driver. He'll have that inside line this time. Down into the left-hander. Could this be it for Jakob Ovlenberger? He's going to get it up and under. They try to go 3 wide. What an up and under from Ole Alexander Smistad. He's got the inside line under the bridge. Will he have second place? Almost gets it. They're still side by side on the exit. Hooking it up and round the outside. Jakob Ovlenberger holds onto it for now. but you can already see just visually how much that gap has increased from that little bit of battling. It's gone up from 0.6 of a second to 1.3 seconds. Espen Moe drops down into 4th place. And sorry, Espen, they didn't listen to you. You wanted to work together and close the gap to Mikkelsen. They've not listened to you. But now let's see if that gap recloses again. It's back to exactly what it was before by the end of the lap. Was there a little mistake there from Adrian Mikkelsen? It went up to 1.3 at one stage. It's straight back down to 0.6. Now can Jakob Ovrenberget be the driver to look to spoil Adrian Mikkelsen's party? Like we say, Jakob, the only driver to have won a race that doesn't have the last name Sturley Smithstad. As battles continuing on further down the order as well. About 6th place backwards, that is. Christopher Melchius, Oliver Christiansen, Kampelian, Berg, Brandstedt, Bendixvold, and Marcus Alberg all in a train there, battling over 6th place, that is. Philip Bakkegaard in a bit of no man's land there in P5. Got a second or two to the drivers ahead. He's got a second or two to the drivers behind. All he needs to do is keep hitting his markers, keep himself on the straight and narrow, and if it all goes wrong ahead, he can pick up a few cheeky places in the dying moments. Still just over 4.5 minutes left to go in this one, ladies and gentlemen, and all very much still to play for. Gap between the leader and the chasing pack, though, has extended once more. Back to 1.2 seconds it goes. And Espen Moe looking to find his way back on the podium. He's really applying the pressure onto Ole Alexander Sturley Smithstad. Right on his rear bumper. You couldn't fit a piece of paper between them, and they make a bit of contact there. It was a move over to the inside to defend there for Sturley Smithstad. And Espen Moe had already committed to that inside line. They make a bit of front to rear contact. Definitely not enough to cause that drop front nose cone, though, and I can see that is still firmly attached there for Espen Moe. You don't want to pick yourself up a silly penalty in the final, because that'll mean that you definitely can't win the race. Obviously with a nose cone it's 5 seconds, so technically you could still win the race if you drove 5 seconds away from everyone else, but with how close they are on pace in terms of this race, I think that is highly unlikely. Well, gap was 1.3 seconds when they started that lap. It's now 1.6 seconds. Adrian Mikkelsen set the fastest lap of the race on the last lap, a 1 minute 0.4 versus a 1 minute 0.8 for Berger, a 1 minute 0.9 for Sturley Smithstad, and a 1 minute 0.8 for Moe. Just seen a move out my window. That was nice battling between the 106 and the 123. That was Jenny K. Nordvang looking to get down the inside and make a move. Hold on a second, it says that she's not in the race. I can literally see her. She's right there. She's just doing past my comms box. So I don't know why the timing seems to think that she's out of this race. She is not out of this race. She was battling. I'll have to remember the numbers now. We'll check in again with her when they come round back into my commentary box view. Can't quite see the numbers well enough on the cameras to tell you that information with confidence, but they continue to battle down through sector number 2. Nose to tail as well in the battle for 5th place. And down the inside, up and under though, tries one of the drivers. What a great battle that is as well. Christopher Melchius and Oliver Christiansen Kampeliem trading places through this lap. And it'll be Burke, Brandstedt Bendixvold and Jenny K. Nordvang who are in that chasing train. So there's a battle for 8th that she is involved in. Ignore the live timing, she is very much still there in 9th place at the moment. There go those drivers across the line, the leaders of the race then, and again, Mikkelsen that little bit faster. He is commanding this race with perfection. It's Adrian Mikkelsen. You can see why he is the defending champion here in the minis, as there's a big move for second place. Down the inside goes Ole Alexander Smith-Stad, but he's on that wet line. On the inside, can he hold it as they go under the bridge? They're nearly 3 wide there. Inside line for Smith-Stad, outside line for Birgit. They're going to be side by side down the back straight. Will this end in tears? They just about give each other enough room, and Surly Smith-Stad completes the move. Up to second place he goes, and now Birgit dropping down to P3. He'll be under pressure from Espen Moe as they head down into sector number 3 once more. And again, this is giving more breathing room to Adrian Mikkelsen. Less than a minute on the clock then as they cross the line. This will be onto the penultimate lap for Adrian Mikkelsen. Side by side for second place across the line. They're all still chopping and changing down to the first corner. Chops back across, does Jakob. Keeps himself ahead of Espen Moe for now. What I think has happened there is the drivers have realised, right, there's not enough time left here for us to catch the leader. It's gloves off, we're battling for second place, and now there's no friends out there on track. They all want to see how far up the order they can get, and of course one of them is not going to be on the podium here. Who's it going to be? We've not got too long to find out, ladies and gentlemen. I can see some people running over. We've got someone in the wall here down in sector number 3. Who is that? Is it the 159? Yes, it is. Christian Bjørgen out of this race late on, sadly for Christian, on the penultimate lap of the race. The 159 is out of proceedings. Right then, only 1,030 metres to make it 2 years in a row for Adrian Mikkelsen. He sees the last lap board and he kicks us off. We want to keep an eye on this battle though. Jakob Ovlenberger all over the back of Ole Alexander Smith-Stad. He's only got a few more opportunities to try and steal away this second place on the podium. I think when we came into today's running, we would have picked Ole as your favourite here to get the win, but he's battling over second, and he might have lost second. Yes, he has. Off of the left-hander. Great up and under exit there. There's a bit of contact under the bridge. Big slide for Surly Smith-Stad. He goes wide. He might lose third place, and he will. Oh my goodness, what battling on this final lap here. And Surly Smith-Stad dives to the inside. Big dive. They make contact with Espen Moe. Moe stays ahead on the exit just about. But here comes your race leader. It's going to be 2 years in a row for the 187 of Adrian Mikkelsen. He wins in the mini class, and what a victory it is. Fantastic from Adrian Mikkelsen. He sees the checkered flag first, and he wins in the mini final. What a brilliant, brilliant performance from such a young driver. Fought his way through at the start. And the drivers in behind at one point looked to be chasing him down, but he popped his head down, got on with it, and created a nice gap there that the other drivers just could not close. So Adrian Mikkelsen, your 2024 IAME Nordic Cup mini champion, becomes the 2025 IAME Nordic Cup mini champion. 2 years on the trot for the Norwegian driver. Great race in the minis, fantastic stuff. And you can see there the 187 celebrating with a few drifts there as he heads back towards Park Ferme. Just playing with the soggy conditions, and a very, very well done. What a final lap as well between our 3 drivers battling in for second place. What a move it was off of the left-hander at the back of the circuit from Jakob Ovlenberger. He'd learned from earlier in this race, he'd learned from earlier races in the weekend as well, how to get that up and under done in these tricky wet conditions. Forced his way through to second, and then I think it was an aggressive attempt to retake the second for Ole Alexander Smith-Stad, sending in a little bit too much speed under the bridge, lost that rear end very momentarily, and that just allowed for Espen Moe to slip back up the inside. A bit of a do-or-die attempt then down into the bottom or right-hander down in sector number 2 for Surly Smith-Stad. Made a little bit of contact with Moe. They both kept it facing in the straight line, and Moe held on to third place. So your full results there on the screen. Adrian Mikkelsen is your 2025 champion in the IAME Nordic Cup in the mini classification. Joining him on the podium, of course, provisionally. All these results are very provisional that I read out here on the speakers. Jakob Ovlenberger and Espen Moe, your top 3. Ole Alexander Surly Smith-Stad after not losing a race in minis across all of yesterday, both the races and the qualifying as well. He was there in P1, just lost it in the superheat earlier on this morning, but it's all gone wrong for him, sadly, in the final. I mean, all gone wrong. He's finished 4th place in the IAME Nordic Cup. It's gone pretty well, but I know he would have been wanting more there, will Ollie. So isn't able to bag himself 2 tickets. I don't think he would need 2 tickets. He somehow had to sever himself in half and race twice in that weekend. But good, we don't have to see him do that. He still bagged himself an IAME World Finals ticket for later on this year, out at the Cartadomo Lucas Guerrero in Spain. But Adrian Mikkelsen will be joining him on the flight as they head down to Spain later on this year. Well done to all the drivers in our mini class, but we're nearly ready to go.